Welcome back to the City of Fountains, Kansas City, Missouri, and Sprint Center. Kansas State leads Florida by 10 here at halftime. And Fran, for Kansas State, a good offensive first half against the nation's best defensive team.
Well, if you're Bruce Weber, you love the fact that you've got 12 field goals. 10 of them have been assisted because that's a big part of motion offense. Take a look at the ball movement. Will Spradling caught fire early off the pass from McGruder, off a screen, another one. And this is the one that you like to see right here. Watch Rodney McGruder play a little peekaboo. Now comes off that screen into the high paint. That's his game right there.
K-State ends the first half on a 16-4 run. Florida held to a season low. First half tally of 23 points. Number 3 has fallen. Syracuse has lost to Temple. Number 16 has gone down as South Dakota State shocked New Mexico. Is number 8 next? Is Florida now trailing by 8, but they go right to Eric Murphy on a set play low.
Well, you know what they did? They switched, and Spradling had to take him. Last year, Murphy would play on the perimeter. All summer long, he worked on his post-up game for good reason.
Gibson underneath, and K-State gets its first 2 of the second half from Big Thomas Gibson.
Let's see now if Florida can slow down a little bit and use that ball screen offense to really work that Kansas State defense. So you want to create indecision at the point of the screen if you're in continuous pick and rolls.
Young with the left hand over the right shoulder, and Young has 7.
That's become a really good weapon for Patrick Young, that lefty jump hook. Used it very effectively all season. Early on now, they're trying to screen and screen and screen.
Gibson with 7 to shoot. McGruder will try to create. An excellent defense by the Gators.
The 2 losses that Kansas State has suffered to Gonzaga and Michigan. They've gotten off to slow second half starts.
And Young off to a good second half start for Florida. But in the games you mentioned before the under-16 timeout, they were decimated in these 2 games.
Well, it's important that as a player and as a team, you realize that you cannot let Florida State get back into this game so easily. On the other hand, Florida State is going inside.
Rosario closing out on McGruder. Kansas State shot clock a factor at 8.
Oh, good defense.
Boynton with the pick, and Florida's within 4. All SEC first teamer preseason Kenny Boynton. Bruce Weber talked about it today at Shooter on handling adversity. And now Florida has hit K-State upside the head with a run.
Oh, nice look inside.
And a foul on Patrick Young of the Gators.
If you're Kansas State right now, you must run your offense, your motion offense, with the same intensity that you ran it in the first half.
Gibson will shoot a couple for K-State. A good first half for Gibson. And again, coming off a double-double, he had 14 points and 12 rebounds in a K-State win on Tuesday night. This Florida team defensively, last year in the NCAA tournament, Fran, they held 2 teams in the tournament under 50 points.
Well, you know what's interesting is in SEC play last year, they were very mediocre. In fact, teams shot 40% from behind the arc versus Florida. But since that NCAA tournament and that deep run leading into this season, they've been outstanding. What they have, Mitch, is versatility. They have size inside. They can switch a lot of plays if they choose to, and all those multiple defenses to drive you crazy to prepare for it.
K-State a little soft press. Now they match up. Wilbekin turns the corner, goaltending. And Florida's 5 of 5 to start the second half.
HENRIQUEZ let Rodney McGruder hang out to dry because he has got to stay until McGruder gets back in front of Wilbekin. He never did that.
And Florida trying to amp up the pressure. Southwell needs help and finds Spradlin.
Right now, this is looking like a repeat of those losses to Gonzaga and Michigan. They hit you with so many pick and rolls.
Young. You get with the follow opportunity to foul on Kansas State.
Now, this young man from France played his high school ball at Florida Air Academy for Auburn Caparo. He's a guy that coached Sasha Khan, who had a terrific career at Kansas. He was a perimeter player, but he continues to fill out. Gives you a chance now to give you another depth and wide body inside.
Well, Christmas Day is full of NBA hoop. Look at this all day long, and look at these games. Celtics Nets start at noon Eastern. And look at these matchups. Oklahoma City and the Miami Heat right in the middle. And then 2 games at the Staples Center. They'll switch the floors. Lakers play in the afternoon, and the Clippers get it at night.
Boy, Clippers on such a roll right now.
The NBA Christmas Special presented by State Farm. That's Tuesday on ESPN and ABC, and also you can watch it live on Watch ESPN.
There's that man pressure. When they can double, they will, and here they're trying to double.
They're pushed now on the Gators. Florida on a 12-3 run. Bruce Weber trying to get his crew fired up.
Kansas State by 1. Let's take a look, Mitch, at the indecision the screen and roll creates for a defense. Now here comes the high screen. Watch HENRIQUEZ come up and help on this ball screen, but he's got to make sure McGruder gets back in front. Freeze it right there. He's got to stay home until McGruder can get back in front. Spradlin can't leave Rosario because he's a dangerous shooter, and if you don't protect the basket, the paint area, you're going to allow that ball to get deep, and that's exactly what happened.
Florida, one of the best ball screening teams in the country. A 12-3 run to start the half until then, and a huge three by Angel Rodriguez, his first field goal of the game.
And they came back and ran the same type of pick and roll action that Florida has so prevalently used in their offense.
Wilbekin losing Rodriguez. And a shot block by K-State's Jordan HENRIQUEZ.
Now for Kansas State, get a quality shot.
That's a quality shot.
Yep.
A curl catch.
Absolute. Great down screen. That's the kind of motion you need. You don't want to aimlessly run around. You want to get McGruder open.
Fired unanswered by K-State to get it back to a 6-point lead. You get Rosario missing a point blanket.
When HENRIQUEZ plays well, he does a great job of protecting the rim, and that's what he's doing right now. See, why not try to find McGruder again? Someone get him open.
Wilbekin trying to stay with him, and Nino Williams with another one of those pulling guard plays. Second foul, third foul on Nino Williams, twice like this.
Now let's show you how it should be operated. Take a look now. Watch McGruder. There's a down screen. Clears, gets him open at the elbow area. And that's in his wheelhouse. We know he can make the standstill three, but at his best, because of his size and frame, Rodney McGruder is terrific inside the 15-foot area.
How difficult has it been for him in the last year and a half to learn to play without Jacob Pullen?
Yes.
Fred, he had 69 makes, McGruder, as a sophomore, and that was with Pullen with him as a teammate.
There's
at the three.
There's a stretch 4 you talked about, right? Well, the hardest part is he's gone from the third option to the first option, and that's a lot of pressure on a guy like that. That's why it's so important for someone else to pick up the slack. Here comes another screen for him.
HENRIQUEZ on the counter. And a foul on Florida. You also get the best guy to guard you every night.
Well, and you know, and by the way, you and I talked about this today. Once you get McGRUDER open, watch the big now have to show out, and that leaves HENRIQUEZ to the basket. So when you're effectively getting the ball to McGRUDER, Mitch, it's going to wind up opening opportunities for your big guys.
The good news is K-State has drawn a third foul on big Patrick Young. The bad news is Jordan HENRIQUEZ is at the line. 2 of 17 for the year. It's like he's going to the dentist every time he goes to the foul line.
Now, this is a guy that was obviously not this poor a shooter in his early part of his career, but it can be mental right now.
There you see, if you figure out 2 for 18, 12%, he's trying to stay in double digits. Some teams are just going to hack him and just play to hack a HENRIQUEZ, and just they lose a possession. He didn't make it.
Good help right there on the ball screen.
Another block by HENRIQUEZ, but Florida will keep it. Frazier on the drive.
Now, if you're Bruce Weber, you don't mind the missed free throws if he's going to continue to protect the rim like he's done tonight. He's playing with renewed enthusiasm tonight.
Wilbekin sets up Boynton, one of the better three-point shooters in Florida history. The game is tied.
Well, Kenny Boynton needed that one, and he could be in a slump, but you don't have to tell him to shoot the ball. He will.
4th in Florida history in three-point makes, and that is a very honored list.
The one negative about motion offense sometimes, if you don't sub a lot, is you can wear your players out.
You get HENRIQUEZ has been a factor at the rim. Martavius Irving for 3, huge. His 9th three-point make this season in 27 attempts. Billy Donovan wants timeout.
This is fun. Kansas State responding.
Mitch Holtz is back, along with Fran Fraschilla. K-State doing a much better job of finding their shooters.
Well, they are. The key tonight is they've done a very good job of screening, getting wide, trying to get a body on the defensive player. Spradling's been in a good rhythm. And here's my favorite right here. The little curl screen into the elbow area by Rodney McGruder. That's his wheelhouse right there. And if you're Nino Williams or you're Jordan HENRIQUEZ, your main goal on offense is not to score, but to get Rodney McGruder open.
Boynton to try to tie it again. But I want to ask you, the art of screening, and how much is it underrated? What good screeners do what?
You got to be wide, you got to be stationary, and you got to lay a legal body on the defender.
And HENRIQUEZ hits a right-handed half hook over the left shoulder.
Now, you mentioned those 17 rebounds in the NCAA tournament versus Syracuse. He also had a big game, 22 at Baylor late in the year, 22 points.
Florida hits the side of the backboard by Prather on the three-point attempt.
Every possession should be judiciously used.
Not exactly sure that's judicious, and Florida comes back with the advantage. And Boynton will get free throws. K-State with a bad decision. Florida will have a chance to slice into the lead, but number 8 is in a tussle tonight.
We talked about at the beginning of the game This is a huge opportunity for Kansas State, who's already played Michigan and Gonzaga. An interesting note, Kansas State has not played 3 top 15 teams in the non-conference since 1949-50.
Kenny Boynton, usually a good foul shooter. He's 2 of 3 tonight.
Remember, Florida has a multitude of defenses, including some pressure. They're going to come hard at the ball handler.
K-State reboots the computers across the timeline.
Then back to the zone. We haven't seen the zone in the second half tonight. So again, out of the timeout, Billy Donovan gives Bruce Weber a different look.
K-State was able to get shots out of it in the first half. They got some shots against the Florida zone. Angel Rodriguez, and a foul on Angel Rodriguez.
I don't like that one, because Pat Adams should have called the first foul on Rodriguez. Once he didn't call the first foul, in my opinion, this was a push-off. Now let's see if we can get it from the top. There's the contact first. See, that could be called a foul on Rodriguez. But this, no, that's an offensive foul.
But let me say this, Fran.
Yep.
Angel Rodriguez in his maturation, that's his 3rd foul. You have the 11:02 mark on 4. I saw him against Iowa State last year, foul Scott Christopherson 49 feet from the basket.
I'm not saying the first opportunity to foul was a smart play. I just thought the second bit of contact was an offensive foul.
But that's sometimes where that Puerto Rican temper gets in there. They need him on the floor instead of picking up a 3rd foul and a 3 now by Rosario.
Now Mike Rosario at his best is stone cold because he plays with no conscience. And lately he has been terrific.
And K-State now without Rodriguez has to handle the pressure. Mitch Holthus with you along with Fran Fraschilla. K-State with a long-standing tradition of playing holiday basketball in Kansas City. Since 1926, K-State has played in this city. McGruder finds the honey spot of the zone.
Sure did. And the shot he took before that on the previous possession was a good one, too. See, now Irving, a good defender, is going to get a piece of Kenny Boynton. 2 guys from South Florida.
Rosario. And HENRIQUEZ, a 3rd block tonight.
Well, he's not in the game for his offense. What he's done is he's really changed things for Florida around the basket.
McGruder, a bonus, not there. And HENRIQUEZ will go to the line. The Hawaiian Airlines Diamond Head Classic going on now in Honolulu. Upset today. Ole Miss goes down. Greg Lansing and Indiana State gets a nice win, while San Diego State rolls on in the top 20. And in the bottom of the bracket with Arizona, the top-ranked team in the tournament. K-State won that tournament last year against a good Long Beach State team, and Butler won it 2 years ago.
Miami now at full strength, also a dangerous team for Jimmy Larinaga.
Casey Prather has picked up his 4th foul, but now HENRIQUEZ to the line. 2 of 19 for the year. And they will keep the bars open tonight in Kansas City.
If he makes the second one,
they'll be open all night and all day. They'll be open Christmas Day.
Open bar for us?
I don't know. Now you're stretching it.
As long as they have iced tea, I'm in good shape.
School's not in session, otherwise they'll call off class tomorrow. 3 for 20. He looks like Steve Henson. You mentioned him, the greatest free throw shooter in K-State history and a 10-year NBA player.
Well, and he gets a break, and he's really energizes Kansas State defense. A little pressure now by K-State. Usually fall back into man, and they do. Pick and roll.
Wilbekin, sweet move to the basket.
That's the 2nd time in the second half Wilbekin has created indecision at the point of the screen. And the problem is you see multiple pick and rolls on every possession.
Now K-State in trouble against this pressure. And a timeout again by Bruce Weber. K-State swimming with the Sharks, and Bruce Weber throws a life preserver to his guards.
Well, I've been impressed tonight with Kansas State from the standpoint of being able to be pretty good executing offensively versus both the zone and the man, and doing a reasonable good job against pressure.
Bruce Weber, sometimes life goes full circle, friend. He was given an opportunity in Division I by Gene Cady at Western Kentucky. Then he was with him at Purdue. Gene played football at K-State. But you look at Bruce Weber's career, I first got to know him when he coached at Southern Illinois. He did a fabulous job there, taking the Salukis to the Sweet 16.
Yes, he did. There you see him as a young coach on the sideline. I happened to be at Ohio State in the 80s when Bruce Weber started his career under Gene Cady. Did a terrific job for the most part at Illinois. Made the change when didn't like the way things were heading, but he went to 6 NCAA tournaments in 9 years, a Final Four in 2005. It's a chance to continue his career.
He was all over Rick Hartzell. That was in the 80s when he was at Purdue. Rick's working his game tonight. Life does go full circle. Southwell with 2 to shoot. Great job by the Gators.
Now let's see if the Gators go back to that random pick and roll, because it's been pretty successful. The key is to show and get back and make sure the man guarding the ball stays in front of the ball.
Throws it away. A good decision by Irving. Even better decision.
He's feeling it. No one picked him up. Basically nothing more than a rhythm 3.
And another timeout by Billy Donovan. And Kansas State back up by 6. They led by 10 at halftime. There's 7:54 to go. One top 10 team has gone down. But Martavius Irving tonight trying to take another top 10 team down.
Well, he's 8 for 25 on the year, 32%. So it's not like he's a poor shooter. It's like a 260 hitter will go 4 for 4 on occasion, but you can't give him that rhythm 3 because of a defensive breakdown.
I had him last year. He had his career high at Texas Tech for 16, but he got a lot of those on dribble takes. But he doesn't have a bad-looking shot. Now, here's the big news of the night. Florida #1 in the nation in scoring defense.
And the field goal percentage really stands out because they've been so good, and they played a reasonably good schedule. They have dismantled Wisconsin, Marquette, and Florida State.
Florida State had 47 points at home against it in Tallahassee.
See, Frazier's not a guy that's going to beat you to the rim. Wilbekin mainly.
Hard screen to set up Wilbekin, the floater. Shot clock. No, K-State's got it.
Now Florida needs to settle in. Kansas State, on the other hand, move the ball, screen, try to get Spradling and McGruder open. McGruder's resting right now in the right corner.
Murphy, a big on a little on Spradling. 6 to shoot. And Spradling is going to the line. He took Murphy to the basket. 2 shots for Will Spradling. He hasn't missed a free throw all year. We'll see if that stands after this. Back in Kansas City, and the K-State Wildcats working on an upset, leading #8 Florida 53-47.
Take a look at this, Mitch. Kansas State is running their offense, but they're using Rodney McGruder. He's just catching his breath on this possession. They're running everything to the left side of the floor. He's only been out of the game 2 minutes tonight, so he basically is resting on offense because, you know what? They need him to defend, and we've talked about how when you run motion offense, it can really wear you down. And that's good strategy right there. He rested while the other 4 players played offense on the other side of the floor.
In the top 10, number 3 Syracuse has lost to Temple. Kansas, in a battle of top 10 teams, wins at Columbus, beating Ohio State. So 3 goes down, 7 goes down. In 10, Illinois went down in the bragging rights game to Missouri. Spradling is 23 of 23 this season. That's his first point of the second half. And that is Steve Henson left.
Yes, sir.
8-point lead.
Great player, now assistant coach at Oklahoma. Again, token pressure, slow the game down, back to man-to-man. Oh, good hands. They had the flare screen, and Rodriguez got a piece of it. They're going to have to be really active at the top here in the pick and roll.
Rosario, Southwell long.
A good learning opportunity for Kansas State right now to play with a lead, run your offense, but be judicious when you start to make decisions as to who's going to shoot this ball.
10 to shoot. McGruder. And that's off McGruder. Excellent job defensively by Casey Prather. ESPN College Basketball available live anytime, anywhere on your computer, tablet, or smartphone at watchespn.com or with the Watch ESPN app. Makes a great stocking stuffer, by the way.
And you got it right here courtside. We're keeping track of all these games.
And a foul now on K-State as Boynton draws the foul. Boynton already 3 20-point games this year. He had 15 against K-State 2 years ago in a neutral site win, but just 11 tonight.
Well, we mentioned that he's been slumping the last 4 games, but like a home run hitter, he's capable of hitting 2 or 3 in a row and getting Florida right back in this game.
And Angel Rodriguez has 4 fouls for K-State, and he's setting down 5 blocks tonight for Jordan Henriquez. K-State trying to get in its motion to it.
And Bruce Weber exhorting them to get into some motion. Well, see, Henriquez needed to screen and slip. He had it.
Wilbekin trying not to leave the shooter. What about Jordan Henriquez? This is the guy, he had 7 blocks last year in a game against Iowa State.
Well, this is a guy that finished up his junior year as someone playing well enough that NBA teams were starting to talk about him. Has struggled early, maybe the new coach, who knows, but this is what he can give you. The defensive presence at the rim, the shot blocking, the rebounding, and now he's going to go back and see if he can make it 3 and 4 in a row from the foul line.
And Florida has lost Casey Prather, Fran, for the night. One of their better defenders fouls out at 5:20 to go in the game. Henriquez staring at the rim like it's the high diving board at the swimming pool.
This guy's on a roll. Look at this stat. This is amazing. Only 12 shots all season as Florida had blocked. And tonight, that front line of Kansas State has challenged them. It's 7.
They're open all night, folks, in Kansas City. Party on. Henriquez, 4 makes at the foul line. 10-point lead for K-State. Their biggest lead was 11 in the first half.
Billy Donovan's got the freshman Dylan Graham in the game, a long-range shooter. And Frazier, 2 freshmen.
And Wilbekin throws it away. How good has K-State's defense been tonight?
Outstanding. You know what they've done really well? They play with their hands up, so they've challenged passes, and that time Wilbekin threw it right over Young and out of bounds.
McGruder's got a big on him, Murphy, so he'll just bring it up. Being wary of the run and jump. K-State 11-2 run. Irving has hit 2 threes tonight. And a foul on Murphy over the back of Jordan Henriquez.
love Jordan Henriquez's activity tonight. Hadn't played really more than 15 minutes, 16 minutes in any game all season.
He had a big game against Missouri his sophomore year. Now he's got the 1-and-1. So here we go. We'll really test it. You can only ask for so much in one night, Fran.
Yeah, he's done it on this end of the court.
5 blocks, all in the second half. Time a factor here for the Gators. Young, strong, tough. He's got 11.
That time he out-thought Henriquez. He didn't even hesitate. He went right up before Henriquez could react.
I love it when you get December games that feel like conference games. This feels like a Big 12 SEC game.
So the first or second round NCAA tournament game.
Florida expected a challenge, maybe win the SEC. Missouri will be a factor in that league. Can anybody challenge Kansas in the Big 12? Henriquez got around Young and then loses the ball. Can Kansas State finish the upset? 3:48 to go. Number 8 is Downing. Well, here, Chris, Kansas State leading Florida 57-49. They call it the Big 3 in Kansas City. Missouri won bragging rights against Illinois, ranked number 10 in the country. Kansas won in Columbus, Ohio, and now Kansas State has got Florida on the ropes here in Kansas City.
And it would be a huge resume builder for Kansas State. You know what? A great confidence builder for Bruce Weber for his team. Now, Florida is still plenty of time. They've got to be crisp. They're going to probably stay in pick and roll. Although right here they're going into the big fella.
Young against Henriquez. Tough shot again by Patrick Young on the ice.
You know, he started the second half going inside. So let's see if they can ride him now.
K-State has handled the all-court pressure from Billy Donovan. And Florida with some different guys on the floor right now. As they've got Devon Walker.
Devon Walker, the freshman. Michael Frazier, the freshman.
Still 15 to shoot. K-State trying to be careful with this possession.
But you don't want to pass up a good shot, which they just did with McGruder.
That is the slippery slope of this situation. Well, that's a good shot. They leave him wide open. Henriquez. And he's down.
Now we've made light of Henriquez's free throw troubles coming into tonight, but he has missed 2 shots right at the rim. And he has an opportunity to score here, and he doesn't convert. Now he'll have to go make them the hard way.
Well, he is 4 of 7, but he's going to get 2 here. And Eric Murphy has drawn his 3rd foul, so he's got 3. Young has 4, and Prather's already fouled out for the Gators. And Henriquez is going, yeah, I'm back here again.
I think they wanted to make sure he was shaking the cobwebs out.
Sometimes he gets up there. He's like a 5-year-old getting his first Ferris wheel ride. It's like, what's this going to be like?
But you made a point earlier that when he has gotten fouled this season, it's pretty much like a turnover. And so it's incumbent upon him right now to make one of these. Otherwise, it's an empty possession and a chance for Florida to go back and cut into this lead. You got to believe they're going to go inside to Patrick Young again.
But he gets the second one. That gives K-State a coveted 7-point, 3-possession lead at 2:54. Eric Murphy, not much of a factor tonight, Fran. Just 8 points. Love his game. He had 24 against Wisconsin.
Well, you remember this is the second time this season that Bruce Weber's gone small with Shane Southwell at the 4, so he matched up fairly well tonight. Again, he's on Murphy, chasing him off those screens.
Wilbekin gets bumped by Irvin.
Unfortunately, only the 16th foul. if you're Kansas State right now, you want to make Florida earn every basket. They have a 7-point lead.
No, you get no Rosario. Will looking for three. Long. Spradling with a good check off.
What I like about Spradling right there, he got that ball out of trouble underneath the basket.
Fran, no Boynton, no Yaget, no Rosario. Is this a teaching point?
Well, I think it is, because both Boynton and Rosario have struggled tonight. Yaget is a role player, but they're 5 of 18 between them. Oh, they had Gibson on the curl.
They get the extra pass, but a miss, and now a foul on Thomas Gibson. It'll be 1-1 for Florida.
And this is a bonus for Florida, like we talked about. Do not give Florida a chance to get back into this game with the clock stopped and Murphy going to the line.
7-point lead for K-State over Billy Donovan's team, the Elite Eight the last 2 years. Back-to-back national champions in 06 and 07.
Walker's a young man, the freshman who came into Florida with a reputation to be an excellent shooter. He's only 1 of 10 on the season, but this is an opportunity for Billy Donovan to get his feet wet in a critical situation.
Patrick Young 1 of 2 tonight, just 60% for the year. But he has kept Florida in the game. 14 points for Fran, and 9 of those in the second half.
The second make here, Mitch, means that Florida gets a chance to set up that pressure.
And Boynton back into the game. So the senior from Pompano Beach back in there for UF.
Well, there are the numbers for Boynton and Rosario. Wants to double team now. Here it comes.
Recognized though by K-State. A great catch. Woo! On the edge of the cliff. And Spradling from the cliff. Long on the three. Save possession by Thomas Gibson.
Big play and smart by Gibson to just kick it out. Run a little clock now. Give Bruce Weber, you have 3 timeouts left, so you can really orchestrate from the sideline.
Timeout by Bruce Weber.
I didn't see that he was going to call it. I felt it in my bones.
He's got 2 life preservers left.
Exactly.
He's used 3. With 1:43 to go here in Kansas City, and K-State leading number 8, Florida by 5. It has been a perilous time for the top 25. All 4 of these have gone down.
Syracuse at Madison Square Garden. Of course, the 5th straight year Temple has knocked off a top 10 team. Fran Dunphy's team coming off a loss to Canisius earlier in the week. So it's funny how basketball, it's so mental this time of year. You know, I always worried at this time of year about my team checking out, wanting to get home for Christmas break. A lot of times they would tell you they were leaving, or they would leave and not tell you, and you had to play a game with their minds at home.
In Kansas, I'm not sure anybody's playing better ball right now than the Jayhawks. They win in Columbus against Ohio State. And you Florida folks watching tonight, we need to educate you about the Missouri Tigers. They'll be heading to the O-Dome, and get ready. That will be a nice game.
Frank Hate's got a really good team, but don't remember, people in the SEC remember all the talk about Missouri football. And that didn't go well.
Now, Florida, look at this. 9th in the country in rebound margin. Tonight, the K-State has been one of the best rebounding teams now for about 5 years.
Well, it's been strength on strength tonight, and it's been Kansas State's strength that's won out to this point. 20 seconds on the shot clock.
We got to get the ball in play first. Murphy out on Rodriguez. 12 to shoot. Southwell, huge. That might have done it right there.
They came in 7 of 16 behind the arc. He took a few quick ones early in this game, but good rhythm, feet set.
He was 24% from 3 last year. The cop on the take. Wilbekin uses the glass.
Timeout by Billy Donovan. Set up the pressure now.
And Scotty Wilbekin turning the corner and getting it done for Florida. Last year he had a clutch 3 to beat Ole Miss when the Gators had to rally to beat the Rebels in Oxford.
Now this was a double team at the point of the screen. Watch Rodriguez escape, get to the lane, and a good extra pass by Spradling. Boy, I love guys that play with no Velcro on their hands. Spradling got rid of it quickly. And then Scotty Wilbekin right back, scores. Billy Donovan calls timeout.
So Shane Southwell had the game's first 2. Then he gets a giant 3 here for K-State out of Harlem Rice High School,
which is no longer in existence. The home of guys like Kimble Walker, Felipe Lopez, Dean Memminger going back 40 years. Here's that pressure now. Good free throw shooters on the floor for Kansas State.
Spradling does a great job of running the inline to create an angle to get it to Rodriguez.
Oh, they had a foul.
Florida thought they had a turnover.
Almost an over and back right there.
Michael Frazier fouls for Florida.
Take a look now. You'll see the pass to the middle of the floor. Frazier jumps it. It's close.
Florida's so good, man. Those doubles come from anywhere. They are like snipers hiding in the weeds.
Now, this is a defense that really Billy Donovan learned under Rick Pitino. Used it so effectively at Providence. Billy was an assistant at Kentucky for Rick Pitino. Billy the Kid.
McGruder 1-1 and nails the first. 78% at the line for the year.
And you've got 4 very good foul shooters out there for Kansas State, plus Jordan Henriquez. So now when he grabs a rebound, is he going to be prescient enough to kick it out, get rid of the ball before Florida can foul?
11 for McGruder. He's played some big games as a sophomore. K-State was in the Elite Eight. Less than a minute. Wilbekin. Henriquez.
And he did. He got rid of it.
And now they're trying to get the K-State lets the ball go out of bounds to Florida.
Well, I think what happened, Mitch, was Henriquez grabbed the rebound and did want to get rid of it quickly, but never really threw it to anybody.
And did the other K-State guys think Florida touched it? I think that must have been what happened. They just let it go out of bounds. And Bruce Weber uses one of his 2 remaining timeouts.
You know, I think we'll see it now. I think Henriquez grabbed the ball. Let's see now. He grabs it and see he's trying to get rid of it, but in getting rid of it, he and see, yeah, Martavius Irving thinks that Murphy hit it. There's no reason why Irving shouldn't just go pick it up.
Hey,
but Henriquez was doing the smart thing. Oh, I see. Yep, and Murphy looks like he gets a piece of it.
But the last touch is
Kansas State.
Kansas State. It's a good call by the officials. But to your point, for Irving, that's the last cookie on the plate, man.
I know.
And you're up.
I know.
Go get it. When in doubt, grab the ball.
Oh, so Henriquez was trying to do the right thing.
Gators trying to get Wilbekin free. Beautiful setup for Young.
Last time out now by Billy Donovan. Now if you're Bruce Weber, you're likely to get Henriquez out. Billy Donovan's going to set up that full court pressure. They'll have to gamble more. Next foul for Florida will be double bonus. So K-State will shoot 2.
And Florida is on the opposite side of where they were a week ago. That was almost this situation. Florida had this lead on Arizona and let it get away. Now they want to do what Arizona did to them.
You see how everybody was concerned about Wilbekin shooting that 3, so nobody picked up Patrick Young running to the rim.
Let's go back a week ago. Again, Florida had Arizona beat in Tucson.
And then Mark Lyons finishes what was a great run down the stretch. 7 straight points by Sean Miller's team. They don't really get a shot off the Gators. And Arizona remained undefeated in a duel in the desert that I felt Florida outplayed Arizona for 38 minutes, but that does not matter.
In that game, Billy Donovan's team had a 6-point lead with 56 seconds to go. Tonight, his team has a 6-point deficit at 42.9.
5 guards for Kansas State right now.
Spradling again, trying to use the inline, and finds Irving. So many players lose the fact that they can run the inline to use that entire 53 feet. Will K-State attack? No. And Murphy comes right out on him and fouls McGruder. 4 fouls on Murphy. But so often, I know it's a simple thing, Frank, but I see college players just stay there in mud. You have 53 feet to use to create an end.
Exactly. And you know, oftentimes players, they don't recognize game situations. And you got to talk to them at the timeout and explain everything to them, even who has the jump ball.
McGruder has been money down the stretch.
Now, Florida has some quality wins already. We chronicled that Bruce Weber's team, their 2 losses to 2 pretty good teams, Gonzaga and obviously Michigan.
You know who else needs this? The Big 12.
Well, I think
the Big 12 needs a win like this from a team other than Kansas.
Well, I totally agree with you. It's a cycle right now that's on its way up, but Big 12 has struggled in the non-conference.
Boynton missing. Young has been ever present.
No timeout, so they got to set up their pressure quickly.
24 seconds. K-State by 6. Florida does not want to foul Spradling. He hasn't missed a free throw all year. And Rick Hartzell calls a foul anyway. And that is Patrick Young's 5th foul. And that really hurts because he's been the most effective Gator here in the second half. Double-double.
Well, he's been really solid tonight. He's had a solid career. I think some people expected this every single night. He's going to be about 10, 11, 12 points, 8, 9 rebounds every night. But he went to work inside tonight and was very effective. And by the way, how about Billy Donovan and the schedule? Playing teams like Wisconsin, at Florida State, at Arizona, at Kansas State, basically supposedly a neutral site. We know better. There's no orange in here tonight.
But if K-State can hang on, Fran, what does this mean for K-State from here on?
Well, it's a huge confidence builder because they've had moments this year under first-year head coach Bruce Weber that they've played good basketball. But obviously, the most consistent 40 minutes of the season is what they brought to the Sprint Center tonight.
Spradling's first miss of the year. He had been 24 of 24. Young is fouled out. That was mentioned his double-double, his 8th career double-double, but he scored 10 of the last 13 Florida points. So where are they going to go now to get points the last 17-7?
Well, here's what you do if you're Kansas State. Switch all ball screens, all handoffs, give up the 2.
Wilbekin quick to the basket.
Got a home run ball if they wanted it.
Well, this might be a double of a gap if they get Spradling to the line again. They do.
This was always one of the toughest games of the non-conference, Mitch, because you're coming out of finals, your kids are going home on Christmas break, and for coaches, you never wanted to lose the game before Christmas. The turkey and dressing didn't taste quite the same on Christmas Day.
This is also potentially, if K-State hangs on, a giant win for Bruce Weber. He took Illinois to the national championship game in 05, lost to North Carolina and St. Louis. Sweet 16 at Southern Illinois, left behind a real good team at Illinois. But let's be honest, Frank Martin was very popular with all of these thousands of fans here tonight. This will help Bruce Weber gain a few electoral votes.
Well, I agree. I agree.
And Kansas Kansas State upsets number 8 Florida. K-State gets its first non-conference top 10 win since 1961. Kansas State, another upset tonight of a top 10 team. 67-61, K-State beats number 8 Florida. Happy holidays from all of us here at ESPN. Thank you for joining us for Holiday Hoops and spending some of your holiday with us. Coming up, Dunks of the Year for Fran Fraschilla. I'm Mitch Holtis. Good night from Kansas City.